Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to PWR Friday. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero, and it is time to go over your feedback from our episodes last week. And this is always fun, Dave. I know it's a show you look forward to most. And
it's like a fish fry Friday for me.
Perch or catfish? Herring or trout?
Let's go salmon or sushi.
Eel?
Yeah, yes.
Really?
Absolutely.
Doesn't that sting when you eat it?
No, because it's...
What about octopus? How does it, doesn't it?
No, you eat the rings.
First subject is something we discussed last week on Primetime, which was the unification match at TLC, and we're going to be discussing this actually much more in tomorrow's big story on Primetime. But this comment comes from YouTube, a user by the name of Dan Schutz. There's no L. Who says, why do people say that the unification match at TLC is a throwaway? The old WWF did it in 2001. Wow, people have such short memories. Sad, really.
13. That was 12 years ago.
When Chris Jericho beat Austin and Rock in the same night.
12 years? That's not a short memory. 12 years ago is a lifetime ago. Cal was even born 12 years ago.
Well, we had some other comments from YouTube users on this comment from Dan. Firstly, user by the name of Overcome72 says, well, two reasons in response. Number one, Bryan and Punk are not involved or are in the mid-card. Number two, it's Cena versus Orton. Did I mention it's Cena?
John Cena is the biggest star in the company. He should be fighting for that unification title.
Dan replied back, a little bit of a conversation happening on YouTube. Cena draws money. Hogan only had 5 moves. I don't know where Hogan came from there. Rock only had 5 moves. Shoot, Stone Cold only had 5 moves. They drew money.
Wait, Stone Cold had
Punk
far more than 5 moves.
And Bryan can't, at least not yet.
Here's the difference. Hogan, Rock, and Austin, people wanted to be those 3 guys. I don't know how many guys want to be CM Punk or Daniel Bryan.
I'd be CM Punk in a heartbeat.
Why? Because of AJ or Lita or because of one of the Bellas with Daniel Bryan?
Absolutely. And the fame, the glory, and the bus.
Oh, right,
I want a bus.
but
I really want a bus. That's all I want in life is a bus, a traveling bus. A bus that takes me from Vegas to Orlando to New York.
You were on that
Vegas to Orlando
yellow
to New
short
York,
bus
from
every
Vegas
day
to
going to
Orlando
school.
To New York because we were fuel efficient.
Fuel efficient.
Why guzzle gas all up and down Milwaukee when you could do it on a smaller item?
Where are we on this now again?
We're still talking about the TLC unification match, and our next comment comes from a user by the name of Conquers Squirrel.
He conquers squirrels?
And
That's
I quote,
awkward.
they've built Orton so bad lately that the Cena and Orton match would have been interesting a couple of years ago when Orton was nearly invincible. A cowardly heel just doesn't sell against Cena anymore. I want to believe a heel can beat Cena cleanly.
You know, I honestly believe that Randy Orton can beat John Cena at TLC to become the unified champion because they've invested so much into Randy Orton, they need to follow through on it right now.
He's the face of WWE.
If John Cena beats Randy Orton clean at TLC, it devalues and ruins everything they've invested into Randy Orton so far.
If he loses clean, you say?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about the possible outcomes in the future from that TLC unification matchup tomorrow on Primetime Saturday night on My24 Milwaukee and all over the world online. A couple of comments just about the general state of WWE came to us via our YouTube channel as well. Firstly comes from Jason Mabone, who says, I like WWE more when the brands and most titles were actually split. The split gave me more reasons to tune into both shows. Knowing that I won't be seeing the same feud spill over from Raw into SmackDown, then back into Raw again. Triple H saying officially last week that the brand extension is no more.
It didn't work. They lost money on it.
It worked initially. Then they didn't have the stars to support it.
They did not have the stars to support it.
I mean, Cody just came around a couple of years ago, and he could have saved
Well, because
SmackDown.
you could have Austin on one show, Rock on the other, and they haven't found guys to replace those 2 guys.
Well, SmackDown was The Rock show.
It was The Rock show. It still is The Rock show.
User by the name of Flo61280 says, great show as usual, PWR. Thank you for that. Here are some problems I see about WWE Raw. Number 1, the show is too long. Number 2, the guys who are getting the most crowd reactions, Punk and Bryan, aren't even the champions or in the title hunt. Number 3, too much Triple H on TV. And number 4, it's 2004 again with John Cena and Randy Borton, as champs. Until WWE changes, ratings will be the same or decline. By the way, speaking of ratings, 3.5 million people tuned in to Raw this past Monday night, 6 100,000 less than did so the previous week. It was the lowest rating of 2013.
And that's surprising. Well, not really, because last week was the show after the Survivor Series.
You get a peak normally.
You do.
But you don't drop to the lowest rated show of the year immediately thereafter.
When you say that Punk and Bryan get the greatest reaction at the champs, they don't need the belts then. If they're over,
explain, please? It's been a while since you've talked about why the belts are nothing more than props.
Well, they are props. And, Randy Orton, the storyline is the face of the WWE. So you take the two most recognizable, John Cena and Randy Orton. Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, they get a great crowd reaction with or without belts. Don't waste it on them. Right now, you got to focus on unifying the title. You won't get the same pay-per-view buy rate if it's Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk to unify those two titles as you will John Cena and Randy Orton.
Another comment came from Justin G, who says, I don't know how good Roman Reigns actually is. Last week we talked about Roman Reigns being the standout star of the Survivor Series. He goes on to say he's put into a position where it's just all spots he's good at. His spear is good, but is he going to be able to carry a whole match? It's easy to say he's looking good when Rollins and Ambrose carry the majority of the match while he just hits his spots.
Look at Dave Bautista.
He walks alone.
It's very similar. I mean, there's certain guys that have that it quality, and Roman Reigns has the look, he has the charisma. He may not be as good of a technical wrestler as Rollins or Ambrose, but let's face it, the big guys draw the big money. And Roman Reigns is going to be one of the top stars of this company in the next 2 to 3 years, if not a former world champion.
You need 3 primary ingredients to be that guy, to have that it factor. Obviously, one of them is simply the look, which comes naturally.
Yes.
The other 2?
Well, you need charisma.
Charisma, which also translates into being able to deliver a promo and talk people into the building. And the third thing is you need to be able to play the game, if you will, and position yourself right within the company.
And now, to be fair, we haven't heard Roman Reigns cut any promos. It's always a group.
We've heard him talk.
It's always a group thing, though.
We will hear him talk a little bit tonight on SmackDown.
Well, yes, but you know what I mean. And so the development is there. He's on the fast track for success, but let's not break up the Shield quite yet.
Next, we had some comments about Rey Mysterio, Little Ray. And this comes from a user by the name of Murderous. I'm not sure if he's related to Ludacris, though. He says, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on Rey Mysterio being back as well. Also, the match with Randy Orton and John Cena is interesting, considering they aren't booking it, at least at the time of this comment, as a unification match. You have to be very careful in not using that words, because it sounds like shenanigans abound.
You know, Rey Mysterio back is great for WWE because he sells merchandise. The kids like Rey. He's a perennial fan favorite. Is he going to get pushed to the top of the card? Absolutely not. He's going to be that mid-card guy that's going to help these younger, newer heels possibly get over. But, I mean, we're going to be talking a lot about Orton Cena for the next 2 weeks or so?
Yeah.
It's a good match. On paper, it's a solid main event, and it's a coin flip. We don't know who's really going to win. I'm gonna hope it's Randy Orton because he needs it more than John Cena. But finally, it's a pay-per-view match that the general public is probably going to buy.
Final comment, and this is regarding CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. This comes from Thunder Knight 19, who says it's possible that the reason some fans didn't buy pay-per-views during the Daniel Bryan versus the Authority angle was because they expected WWE to screw it up. Face it, WWE has screwed up many angles in the last few years. For example, the Nexus, Summer of Punk, Invasion, etc., etc.
I disagree with that because I don't think that the average pay-per-view buying family thinks they're going to screw it up. I think it's more of the fans that watch our show as opposed to the Joe Walmart wrestling fan, the everyday wrestling fan.
Joe the Plumber?
Yeah, sure, or Joe the Plumber. But let's face it, the Nexus didn't have the star power. Okay, the Invasion angle didn't have the star power.
Oh, wait, isn't the Nexus, can it be viewed as somewhat successful because out of it you got, bad news Barrett, you got Daniel Bryan, you got, Darren Young, you got
your boy Heath Slater. You got Ryback.
Ryback as well.
No, I mean, yeah, they got mid-card guys out of it, but It was booked poorly.
It
The
started
main
off
event.
hot.
Yeah, but the main event at SummerSlam was booked poorly. Summer of Punk, they ended it too quick.
Well, summer was over.
And then the Invasion, they didn't have Goldberg. They didn't have DDP. They didn't have the NWO.
There's no excuse for their lousing up of the Invasion angle. None.
Of course there is.
No excuse.
They didn't have the talent for it.
No excuse. They
You
treated
can't
WCW like a redheaded stepchild because they could, because they won.
No,
and as a result,
they didn't
their
have the
biggest,
stars.
One of their biggest bought pay-per-views in history, the Invasion pay-per-view. After that, it all fizzled leading into the Survivor Series where they basically got rid of WCW
But
and the Alliance and ECW.
because they didn't have the Goldbergs and the
didn't need 'em.
DDPs
They
and the
didn't need 'em.
NWO.
They didn't need them.
You are absolutely insane.
Buff Bagwell and Booker T have a bad match on Raw. WCW is buried at that point.
They had Lance Storm and Mike Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Over Goldberg and Sting?
I didn't compare them. I said they did not need them.
Yes,
There's
they
a
did.
difference.
Absolutely, they did.
You don't think WWE messed up the Invasion? You don't think
They
that their
didn't- they-
egos got in the way
no,
and they messed up?
They didn't have the players because the people.
So you're apologizing for
No, I'm
the,
not.
the,
No,
the
I'm
biggest
not. What
story
I'm
in wrestling
saying
history being a botch.
is that WCW stars like Dallas Page and Kevin Nash and Goldberg weren't going to take the buyouts that were offered. They stayed home and collected the guaranteed money. They weren't going to take 20 cents on the dollar.
Because you are saying that the only way they could have made it successful was by keeping WCW as it was with the same stars.
If the Invasion is Hall, Nash, Goldberg, Sting invading WWEF at the time, absolutely.
It would have been easier.
It would have drawn a ton of money.
Invasion, the pay-per-view, and the initial angle did draw a ton of money.
But it didn't after that. They needed
Because they messed it up.
They couldn't sustain because they didn't have the stars. No
Come on,
one's
they had
gonna,
Buff Bagwell.
No one's gonna believe that. And this is no knock on Lance Storm. People aren't gonna think that that Lance Storm could beat The Rock.
You're not being serious.
You're too much.
Impact Wrestling last night, ladies and gentlemen. David Hero, I don't know if you noticed exactly. It was difficult not to, but Zema Ion is apparently somewhat of a
He's a DJ. He's fantastic.
DJ-tastic?
You know what? I mean, I was never a big Zema Ion fan to begin with, but what he brings now to the Bromans is a nice addition as their DJ.
Mm-hmm.
It's obnoxious, but so are the Bromans.
And people will pay to see them do what? Get their tails beat, which is,
Right,
is that
but
what
see,
this business is all about?
I'll give TNA credit. It's details like that. That one little thing that means so much to elevating Robbie and Jesse as the tag champs.
So frustrated, Gunner hitting the referee, and the Bromans retain their tag titles.
It's pretty fantastic.
Jeff Hardy, Bobby Roode, both go through a table at one point, but it would ultimately be Jeff Hardy advancing in the championship tournament.
Shocking, isn't it?
Not at all.
What do you
Jeff
mean?
Hardy has to be in the finals of the tournament,
Well,
doesn't he?
no, it's shocking that they both went through the table at the same time.
What happens, you know.
It does, because it's a fight. Sometimes things happen.
Another big advancement in the championship tournament. Magnus, we'll be talking about that in more detail tomorrow night on Prime Time, PWR Prime Time. Speaking of tomorrow night, David Hero,
Yes.
big show, huge show. As a matter of fact, right now, I want to go to some comments from a participant in Blizzard Brawl tomorrow night, Matt Hardy, who
Matthew.
had some words for his opponents, Mr. Anderson and Shane Helms. Matt, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Matt Hardy, the man who is stronger than death. It is November 30th, 2013, and I just became the first ever WrestleCade heavyweight champion, stealing the show against Carlito Colon tonight. And a lot of people say, Matt, what are you going to do next? I'm not going to go to Disneyland. I'm going to Blizzard Brawl in Milwaukee, and on December 7th, I'm going to whoop the asses of Mr. Anderson and Shane Hurricane Helms. I'll see you in Milwaukee.
Oh my goodness! I'll admit, I was very excited there. I just finished having a show-stealing performance as I defeated Carlito in a ladder match, my specialty, and Matt Hardy became the first ever WrestleCade heavyweight champion. Now let me get real and calm down a little bit now that the adrenaline's worn off. I am friends with Ken Anderson. I am friends with Shane Helms. Everyone knows that. Hell, we were such good friends at one point. We traveled together in WWE. We even had a name for our group, for our posse. We were Click, Click, Boom, the CCBs. That's right. Matt Hardy, Ken Anderson, Shane Helms, Click, Click, Boom. But when I meet these guys in a triple threat match in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on December 7th, I'm coming there for one reason and one reason alone. And that's to win in a show-stealing performance. And it doesn't make a difference if you're my friend or not. Hell, Ken Anderson, I respect you. You've done great down in Dixieland. Shane Helms, you're one of my best friends ever. We're business partners with Omega, but the bottom line is this. When I step into the ring with you guys at Great Lakes Championship Wrestling on December the 7th in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I am coming there to win the match and to steal the show. I have momentum. I have huge momentum right now. Everyone knows that. In front of 2,500 of my fellow North Carolinians, I became the first ever WrestleCade heavyweight champion. I am a reinvented persona. I am a rehabilitated human being. Matt Hardy has been resurrected. Hell, it's so crystal clear. Even the #1 dirt sheet, one of the best pro wrestling sites.net, wrote a damn blog on it. Matt Hardy has been resurrected. And everyone knows my past. I have no secrets to hide. Everyone knows the skeleton in my closet. And the skeleton in my closet, Matthew, he's dead. Bottom line is this. When I meet Shane Helms and Ken Anderson on December 7th, everyone knows I can slam a tornado. But in Milwaukee, I am going to slam a hurricane. And Mr. Anderson, I'm going to give you a side effect. A twist of fate. And I'm going to pin your ass 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to hold my hand up in the sky. And I'm going to say, I am the winner. And I'm the winner. The winner. Shane, click. Ken, click. Matt Hardy wins and steals the show. Boom!
Well, he's traveled with them. He knows them, but it will matter not tomorrow night.
It's going to be,
County
I tell you,
Expo
it's
Center.
going to be frigid cold. Hurricanes don't exist in cold weather, and let's not forget Mr.
called
Anderson.
typhoons.
He's going to have the hometown advantage.
He's from
90 miles north. Blizzard Brawl 9, blizzardbrawl.com, biggest show of the year for GLCW, and you're going to be there, huh?
Yeah, I'll be presenting Ron Simmons with the Lifetime Achievement Award and at the same time inducting him into the Pro Wrestling Report Hall of Fame, joining King Kong Bundy.
And
joining
Demolition.
Demolition, who will also be in attendance tomorrow. Now, tickets I understand available online, blizzardbrawl.com, but also available at the door.
At the door, buy tickets at the door, buy them online, just be there.
For that one, ladies and gentlemen, this is Damian Nelson saying we'll see you tomorrow night at Blizzard Brawl and on Prime Time on My 24 Milwaukee. Thanks for tuning in.
Great Lakes Championship Wrestling presents Blizzard Brawl 9, Saturday night, December 7th at the Waukesha County Expo Center. See a triple threat match with Shane Helms, Matt Hardy, and Ken Anderson. WWE Hall of Famers Howard Finkel and Ron Simmons for a special appearance. The GLCW Championship, Al Snow versus Joseph Parks. GLCW Tag Team Champions Demolition also in action. TNA Champion Robbie E has an open challenge and more. Special meet and greets tickets start at $10. BlizzardBrawl.com. BlizzardBrawl.com. Get your tickets now.